Hello, Sichtmolwetter, the legendary beard. Rough orange hands, telling you all sorts of nonsense day after day. And you listen to the silly stuff too, so that you don't become breg and klöterig. What do we have here today? Today we have something called, now I'll fall back into my local idiom, High German. WMN, Model B, caliber 5.5 mm, F sign. Yes, you will be quite surprised for bass, because, yes, WMN Norinco B3-XS. So, what now? There is the thing, so the original name we can wait for the paper to address that. Now something different. So Xisico WMN B, that is the official name from the official Chinese manufacturer. B3-XS somehow marketed the thing for a while as the Perfect 47, as far as I remember. Then I have also seen First Strike, and B3-XS B, and gradually some nonsense. And since I have the paper in hand, I needed 63 for that, paid at Egan. The new price is around 100, plus or minus 10. So minus 10, yes, that would be great. Plus or minus 10, depending on when you look. Often you find at the low prices, you know, where you say that's cheap, it says underneath, not available. That is also the condition in which it will remain for the rest of its days with the dealer. That price, it will no longer be available. Muzzle energy 5.6 joules is what I have here, realistically. And a permit for this thing, so PTP, you know, it always means not a permit, it means registration. For me, that's the same. Without registration, no permit, no matter. PDP 1116, so 2016 of this. There is also the 4.5mm variant, and it was already approved in 2013, whatever is under this name. So who knows how long it was already under dozens of other names? Haha. Right. Well, let's deal with this. What stands out to us first? This thing is heavy. This thing is really, really heavy and also quite compactly built. So I'm going to unfold this bird now. This is a proper locking mechanism that actually holds up. It isn't just some flimsy stuff. I just want to remind you of the MP. That was a joke. This here is a really decent and durable stock. It could be longer. So when I get into position here, just like that, I realize, yes, this could be the right length for the Uyghur standard farmer, or maybe for small yellow men, like teenagers, and have also already ordered from AliExpress. Today I'm really going to clean up here. What's going on today? B is even more clumsy than usual. I think this pair of glasses wants me to put it somewhere else so it doesn't keep falling down. Yes, it's exactly on AliExpress. I specifically ordered it for the AK-47, actually a very AK, with letters for the folding stock at the back. And there are extensions that you simply attach to the back. They fit the thing properly and secure it with Velcro, and then the stock is a bit longer. I'll wait until it arrives, and when it does, I'll make a special video. You can take another look. But I have high hopes for it because it is a bit short. Normally, I start by reading this gun, but I already did that anyway. Then we have something else to read here. At most, the 0, 1, and 0. This is the safety, a manual safety. Rustic for rustic farmer hands. And yes, God, manual. It doesn't bother me, it looks military and is fine. I would say the wooden parts are typically Chinese, dipped once in the Chinese uniform slurry, yes, and then never touched again. That's normal. We know it no other way. It is, in terms of price-performance ratio, the price is appropriate. Other than that, it's quite okay. The back here is not wood, it is the finest bakelite, just like in the original piece. Back then there was no money to do everything properly. Yes, we also have strap loops at the back and front. You can hang the thing around your neck when it's folded. I don't know to what extent this makes sense for a single-shot air rifle, but well, if you can do it, it's nice. Takes up less space in the cabinet and also in the travel bag, which hopefully can be locked. But overall, when shooting, you have the thing unfolded if in doubt. Yes. Now I've looked at the wooden parts. In terms of order, the trigger would be next. The trigger guard is wobbly and is riveted. So this is not a screw that you can tighten, but Riveted. The grip, on the other hand, is secure. The trigger blade is made of stamped sheet metal. I must say, unlike other Chinese junk I've had in my hands, there is no wobble. I already said it wobbles. Of course, everything wobbles here, so up and down on the right, everything wobbles. But you don't cut yourself anywhere, and your fingers don't get hurt on this elegantly shaped recess. Can you see it? Light is always a thing here. Like this recess here, you don't cut your fingers on it. It's just a hole in sheet metal, but at least it's not sharp-edged. Yes, that was it. Let's just work our way up. On top here, we have a sight rail. So what docks onto the rear sight is supposed to be a sight rail. With the original, it doesn't work that way because the entire housing is removed with the original. But here it was simply done. Yes, in the front it grips onto the rear sight and in the back onto a single screw. And I think you can hear it, right? It's not that it wobbles when I shake it or anything, but when the scope is mounted and you tighten the screws, you can already feel that the screws are just compressing everything further without it being flimsy. So this is already 1.5 men of steel, I would say. But you can still feel a bit of wobble, and especially when you can take the target for a scope and it can wobble a bit, then you also understand why the results on the shooting card look a bit strange. We'll get to that shortly. The rear sight is entirely steel. Yes, that still exists. Probably because this thing has been built the same way for 30 or 40 years and not differently. It's all still made of steel. The slider has exactly 3 positions, of which you can actually reach 2. There is no lateral adjustability. The muzzle. Yes, I'm once again putting the muzzle right under your nose with that awareness. You are just a camera. You are not human beings. At least not like that. And then you can see that the muzzle is, so to speak, in accordance with the model. In order to adjust anything on the muzzle, you need a so-called front sight tool. In this case, a key is simply sufficient. You can screw the round muzzle up and down, like a screw. It is simply screwed in with a thread, and the muzzle itself is eccentric, not exactly in the center, but a bit to the side, allowing for slight lateral adjustment depending on how you turn it. Up. That works. Shh. A front sight tool is not included. However, I also don't know if the original key from the AK fits, so I don't have any AK accessories lying around here. Hypothetically, it is possible. Just as an explanation, I received the device in its original box. So it's a relatively small box, and there's nothing inside. I mean, there is a manual in there, but there's nothing in the form of styrofoam or anything. It's just bare cardboard. The thing is just thrown in there, the box is closed, and that's it. Consequently, you can see signs of handling everywhere here. Yes, I think you can see it well here. 2001, so some casting marks have been removed vigorously. The grinder here and there, possibly just over the sharp edges of the sheet metal stamped parts, but then it wasn't polished afterwards or anything like that. Instead, it went straight into the bluing. Yes, and then it was like that. Everywhere here, it is full of signs of handling. And I would say they thought, my God, the original isn't any prettier. Let's leave it like this. And this part is not meant to appeal to the sport precision shooter, but it's for enthusiasts of military utility equipment. And that's exactly how the thing looks, just as robust as that. I let it drop for you earlier. It makes a huge noise because this is wood, this is wood, this is bakelite, the rest is all steel, some kind of plastic and elastic. No, it's all properly machined. Probably still machined from solid material, except for the parts that are made from sheet metal stamping thingamajig. We did the trigger, we did that part in the front, and I think we also did that part in the back. So, air steel, there's no rubber plate or anything like that on it. Wooden wood. Cabling. Parts attached here, attached there. So, how does it shoot overall now? Well, it's first a side lever. There's a rubber thing on top. I read that this rubber thing isn't really secured. It tends to come off when cocking. I haven't noticed that with mine. It has just stayed nicely in place. Knock on wood. But as I said, this thing looks like it has never been shot. It's like new. Yes, there is a release on it, and then you can unexpectedly cock the lever. Can you also release the lever again? No, you can't. You have to shoot the thing to release it again. And at least your fingers are secured because of that. Some people manage to do it like this, and then pull the trigger, and then it goes slap, and the cocking lever hits the gun again, taking off the fingernails in the process. Be very careful with that. Yes, I already have the Diabolo in, but luckily everything is still open. Just take a look into this loading opening. There you see wood. You might be wondering why you see wood there. Because this... Wait a moment, I need to make sure that you can really see something. That's always a bit of a thing here. Light? Light? Yes, I think now you can see the wood nicely. There is a gap running the full length through this loading thing, through this bay, and yes, it shows wood, and if a Diabolo falls in while loading, then it falls in. So the wood does not close off the bottom of this loading thing, but there is plenty of space, at least half a cm. This means that the Diabolo also falls back into the housing and rattles around in there. And it does so until you eventually shake it out of this opening here in front of the trigger. After all, it has happened to me multiple times. At least the system didn't get stuck or anything because of that. But I didn't stretch it overhead or anything like that to try it out. Instead, I shook it vigorously, and eventually it plopped out down there. Yes, why do you do that? Why, dear. I assume the communists did it to annoy the capitalists, really to pester them. And I can tell you, if a Diabolo has ever fallen down for you, will now say yes, of course, constantly. Then you will also have endless fun with it. The bolt. I have already tried to tape it down there. The bolt runs so close that there is little space. So, tape is not enough for that. You can't just do that easily. Rather, if you do, you would have to unscrew the thing, and then glue it from the outside, meaning from below, and then the Diabolus would stick directly to it. That would be a side effect. I had already unscrewed these 4 screws that hold the wooden piece to get to it, because one had plopped in there. And I then realized that doesn't mean you can remove the part. I have no idea. Oh, right, exactly. I simply forgot the thick, fat screw down here. I probably would have had it in my hand. Then we could have glued it down as well. I didn't do that. Now it is what it is. So I'm putting it back in front now. Then it goes click. It locks in nicely. Let's go back to the stop. And... bang. Yes? I have read a lot about this trigger. And actually, they all agree on how bad it is. But I have to say, with this specimen that I have here in the back, it's not that bad at all, because this trigger, when it's cocked, is full contact. You can't see it in the camera anyway, so when the thing is cocked, it's as hard as a board. And as soon as it moves, the shot goes off immediately. This means what you have here is basically not a pressure point trigger, but a bone-dry, non-scratching, 1000, immediately releasing, hard trigger. I can't find it bad. I have to say, I expected it to be much, much worse. The trigger is perfectly fine in terms of performance. Okay, 5.5, 5.6 joules. I would say someone has already written in a forum that it was good that the gun doesn't have more because it probably wouldn't withstand more. Although I have to say, nothing here gives the impression of being flexible, crumbly, or broken. Okay, the trigger guard wobbles, but it's firmly riveted. There's no plastic that can break or anything. The whole thing is really... I mean, if you have it on a Dacia somewhere, it should actually survive the last 30 years. Let's look for things. Then we would have a few target boards here. That was with a scope at 10 meters sitting down, till I then realized I could move the scope on this rail. It simply serves no purpose because I told myself, even the most harmful junk from the Chinese usually doesn't shoot badly. At least not that badly. So I attribute this to the wobbly sight rail. Then I shot again with open sights. For that, I specifically took a pistol target because it's a bit larger. You have to disregard the two. They come from the sighting in, comes out of that. Those were these here. You don't have to think anything of it. I don't even look straight ahead at 10 meters anymore. And yet with the rear sight and front sight, so for me, it's a lost cause. But don't find it that bad for open sight. If there is a proper scope on it that hits well, or if the distance suddenly isn't 10 meters anymore but 5 meters, then I would say the thing is perfect. It's exactly right for that. Ah, yes, right. Here we want to take another look at speeds. Test. Yes, there is sound. Very good. Once this way, and once that way, and once this one. Here is really the B. Yes. And show me the values. I'm just going to rattle this off. Range 5 joules, 5.3 to 5.6, 5.2, 5.5, 5.65, 5.1, 5.9, 5.3, 6.1, 5.6, 5.4, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 6.1, 5.6, so 5.6 can definitely be taken as a standard value, I believe. It's what comes out the most. That's more than enough. It's fine. So I can live with that. It's just a fun gun. And if you shoot, let's say, at 5 6mm matchboxes, that's what it's made for. That's what it's designed for. Of course, you can fold it up very nicely, but honestly, who carries something like that hanging around their neck, then to take a shot with it? If it were a semi-automatic or a fully automatic, then it would be a huge fun factor. But it's nice, takes up a bit less space, is nothing special, but it's okay. I'm trying to get to something similar. Gradually, my mouth is getting worn out. To come to something almost similar to a conclusion, just see that the lighting is very unfavorable for me here. This will help my muscles to recover better. Message: I'm not allowed to breathe, then everything will be fine. The thing is fun. I wouldn't say, hey, I got it cheap at E-Gang, so I have to keep it, because then this place would be completely full of shotguns. That's bad enough at the moment, but it just doesn't meet my standards. I need something with a scope or a red dot sight, simply because open sights are no longer suitable for me at my age. The thing is fun. There are fans of this shotgun, even though it's a Chinese piece and blah blah blah. But apparently, a lot can be done with it because it's all steel. You can weld on it. You can somehow screw things on. I've seen people who have mounted original 2021 AK-47 magazines down there. Of course, possession is prohibited now, right? Magazines over 10 rounds and so on. But there are also 10-round magazines for the Dragunov, which must be legal and free. I'm not up to date, but back when I was still shooting, magazines were not considered essential weapon components and were therefore free. So even those from assault rifles were available from 18. They were free for children to purchase. I still believe that today, but as I said, without a rifle, or even with a rifle, be careful, okay? This is just a fun shotgun, similar to how the Oktoberfest rifle is another type of fun shotgun. This one has about 3 times the power of the Oktoberfest rifle. For that, you have to load the Diablo pellets individually from the front, so everyone has their own justification for existence. This one does too. And as terrible as people have said, I actually can't find this thing. Of course, anyone who shoots Feinwerkbau and Weihrauch all day won't have any fun here. But for those who say, well, my God, for a pittance and at 5 or 6 meters, since there's no more space anyway, this thing is actually fun. Moreover, it's not tragic. I always say air rifles are pack animals. If you want to keep them properly, then forming a herd must be possible. That means whoever has a shotgun will eventually have several anyway. This one fills a different gap than other models. So, told you all that, now you are much smarter than before. I know there are better videos about this thing, but I never watch them. I only ever watch my own videos because if I were to watch the others, I would say, oh shit, I'm done. No, I have way too much fun with this nonsense here. So I thank you all again very much, randomly drumming on the good piece, on the object of the regulated, wish for yourselves everything that you wish for me. And then comes the usual phrase that the guy with the bar and the green-orange hands is always getting more and more well-behaved on camera. That he now says, all right, that's it for today, and now I click, whether the mouse or the cat comes, and then it's over here. Bye.